All right, let's talk about something that's, well, absolutely critical for anyone running things on the cloud: database recovery. Because look, things are going to go wrong. It's not a matter of if, but when. And having a solid plan is what separates a little bump in the road from a full-blown disaster.
So picture this. It's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Alarms start screaming, your dashboards are just a sea of red, and you get that sinking feeling in your stomach. It's that moment every single engineer just dreads. Your production environment is down, and it's down hard.
I want you to really honestly think about this for a second. Some bad code gets pushed, a script goes sideways, and bam, your company's most important asset, your data, is now corrupt. The clock is ticking, loud. So what do you do right now? The answer to that question is everything. To build a plan that actually works, you have to start with two numbers, and these are absolutely fundamental. These aren't just some techie jargon. They are, for all intents and purposes, promises you're making to your customers about how reliable your service is.
So first up is your RPO, your recovery point objective. This one is all about the data itself. Let's say your system dies at 3 p.m. If you restore a backup from 2:55 p.m., well, you've lost 5 minutes of data. Is that okay? Is it not? Your RPO is what defines that limit. It might be 5 seconds, it might be 5 hours, but you have to know that number.
And then there's the other side of that coin, your RTO, the recovery time objective. This one is all about time, specifically your downtime. How fast do you need to get back up and running? This number dictates how slick and speedy your recovery process has to be, from the moment you notice the problem to the moment your app is back serving users again.
So let's just boil it down, okay? RPO is about how much data you can stand to lose. RTO is about how long you can afford to be offline. A simple way to think about it is this: RPO is about the what, the data you get back. RTO is about the when, how fast you get it back. And the balancing act between these two, that is the heart and soul of any good disaster recovery plan. Okay, so we've got our goals, we know our RPO and RTO, but how do we actually, do it? Well, luckily for us, AWS gives us a pretty powerful toolkit designed for exactly this. Let's take a look at the options for some of the most common database services out there.
Now, this is where it gets interesting. With a standard RDS database, you've got snapshots. They're great, they're reliable, but they only get you back to the specific moment that snapshot was taken. But then you look at Aurora and DynamoDB, and they offer continuous backups. This lets you do a point-in-time recovery, often down to the very second. For getting a really low RPO, for minimizing that data loss, this is a total game changer.
But what about backups for the really long term, for compliance reasons or just as an extra layer of just in case? That's where Amazon S3 is your best friend. When you export your snapshots over to S3, you're creating a totally separate archived copy of your data. This is so important. It isolates your backups from any disaster that could take out your live database and its region. Plus, you can use S3's lifecycle policies to automatically move older backups to cheaper storage. It's a win-win.
All right, let's go back to our nightmare scenario. The bad code is out there, data is getting corrupted, but this time we're ready. We know our RPO and RTO, and we've got our AWS tools ready to go. It is time to execute the plan.
And here's how it plays out. An hour ago, the damage was done. The system limped along for a bit, then our monitoring catches it. Alarms start firing. At time 0, the engineer on call, who has a clear plan, kicks off a point-in-time restore to a few minutes before the bad deployment hit. And just 15 minutes later, a brand new, clean database instance is up and traffic is switched over. Disaster averted. So, what's the big takeaway here? We hit our numbers. Our RTO was 15 minutes from starting the restore to being fully back online. And our RPO? We restored to a point just before things went bad, so we only lost about 5 minutes of data. This is what a successful recovery actually looks like in the real world.
That recovery seemed pretty smooth, right? Almost easy? Well, I'll tell you right now, that wasn't because of luck. It was because of practice. Probably the single biggest mistake people make is just assuming their backups will work when they need them the most.
Oh man, I love this quote. I love it because it's just so brutally true. If you have never, ever tested your restore process, you don't really have a backup plan. What you have is a backup hope. And let me tell you, hope is not a strategy when your entire business is on fire.
So to help you get from hoping to knowing, here is an actual actionable checklist. Think of this as your roadmap to building truly bulletproof database resilience. Here we go. Step 1. Define your RPO and RTO. Know your targets.
2. Automate your backups. This should be a complete no-brainer. 3. Go cross-region. Protect yourself from a whole region going down. 4. Archive to S3 for that long-term safety net. 5. And this is the big one, folks. Test your restore. Run drills regularly. And finally, number 6. Document everything. Create a runbook so clear that anyone on your team can handle the recovery, even when the pressure is on.
I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. It is so easy to check a box in the AWS console and say, yep, backups are on, but the real question, the one that truly matters at 3 a.m. during a massive outage, is this. Have you actually proven they work? Have you ever restored from them under pressure? Go find out.